welcome to The Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Stephen Van Eiderstein. Thanks for joining me again on January 17th. We'll be reading the daily meditation from James Allen from his Daily Reader. And it has been a fantastic journey just so far with everything that's been touched on in just 16 readings. It's pretty in-depth and it's pretty exploratory, and I'm really grateful for that and very insightful. So I hope anyone listening gets some good information from it, as I do. And this will be fresh to you, fresh to me, so you'll get my genuine thoughts and reactions in response to the daily meditation. So let's go ahead. January 17th. All things are orderly and sequential, being governed by the law of causation. Do not trouble about results or be anxious as to the future, but be troubled about personal shortcomings and be anxious to remove them. For know this simple truth: wrong does not result from right, and good present cannot give birth to a bad future. You are the custodian of your deeds, but not the result which flow from them. The deeds of today bring the happiness or sorrow of tomorrow. Be therefore concerned about what you think and do, rather than about what may or may not come to you. For he whose deeds are good does not concern himself about results, and is freed from fear of future ill. Verily the law, capital L, law, reigneth, and reigneth forever, and justice and love are its eternal ministers. Speak only words which are truthful and sincere. Another great reading about personal accountability. But I really like that he focuses in more so on what you put in. Focus on what you put in rather than what you get out. Do not trouble about results or be anxious as to the future, but be troubled about personal shortcomings and be anxious to remove them. For know this simple truth: wrong does not result from right. The good present cannot give birth to a bad future. Create now something good, something just, righteous, loving, and out of that will be born good. Now, you can't attach yourself to the outcomes of these things a lot of times, because what we have in mind or the direction we hope it takes doesn't always result, right? It doesn't always, through our best efforts and manipulation, sometimes we can't get the results that we want, but we can drive ourselves crazy trying to. And it's good to set goals and work towards them, but the main thing and only thing you can truly ever control is your own thoughts and your own actions and what you're putting into this present moment and putting into the world. And if you keep on the direction you want to take and walking towards those goals while monitoring and maintaining your goodness, I guess is a way to say it, there's only good that can result from that. You know, you are the custodian of your deeds. You're the custodian of your deeds, but not the results which flow from them. You know, your actions build your character, right? It's and that's what you can control. That's what you can monitor. Custodian of your deeds. That is what is your responsibility, really, at the end of the day, but not the results which flow from them. You can't control these outcomes. A lot of times we can't control these outcomes. We like to think we can. We like to narrow the options so we can still have some semblance of control, and manipulation. But at the end of the day, we can't be attached to the outcomes of these things. We can only associate ourselves with what we actually do, right? Like the ends justify the means is something a lot of people say, but it's an excuse for it can be at least an excuse for pretty negative behavior, pretty selfish, self-centered behavior, what some may describe as evil behavior, thinking that they're making the best decisions for the society at large. And that's a whole nother realm to step into, to be honest with you. But on the personal level, on the you and on the me level, it really does boil down to what are you doing? What do your actions say about you? And what does that look like in the grand scheme of things? And let's see, be therefore concerned with what you think and do rather than about what may or may not come to you. You got to take comfort in what you have control in, right? If you're discontent and you're displeased with your own actions, that's something you can address. If you're displeased or discontent with the state of the world, you can't really do anything about that, and you're placing yourself in a position to be constantly miserable. That doesn't mean you have to approve everything. It doesn't mean you've got to be okay with everything that's going on. It's a practice of acceptance that I'm sure we'll get to at some point here in this year. But the reality of it is, what you can take comfort in and contentment in is really what you're putting out. The actions you're taking, the behaviors that you have, and understanding that those are under your control to be able to move forward in life. So, the very law reigneth. I pointed out the capital L, and I believe that's from the law of causation or spiritual laws. Verily, the law reigneth and reigneth forever. And justice and love are its eternal ministers. When you put good in, you will get good out. And just don't have expectations of what that looks like all the time. Then the last thing it closes with: speak only words which are truthful and sincere. And as simple as that sounds, it's much more difficult than one would think. At least for someone like me, because sometimes I don't even know when I'm deceiving myself or when I'm lying. And it needs to be called out by others, or sometimes I do get the grace of a realization or a moment of clarity. So just great advice. But thank y'all for joining me again for today's a daily meditation reading from James Allen. Something to think about as we continue on into the day and the evening. And I will touch base with y'all again tomorrow. So until then, thanks.